Well, I had some emails of people asking me what I think of the EOS R camera compared to my 80D. And at first I was going to make a video right away when I first got it, but I didn't. I wanted to look at it more. I wanted to find out, do I go back to my Canon 80D or am I going to pick this one up all the time? Now, originally I did not have the 24x105 mount camera lens. I couldn't afford it. When I bought this camera, I bought it like 6 months back, maybe 4 months back, and I paid $2,000 from B&H for the camera. And I bought a memory chip, 128 gigs for 200 bucks. I bought the fastest one they had because of 4K video. So it was $2,200. It broke the bank, and I suffered for it for a couple months. Now, this week, I bought the 24x105 lens, the RF mount that goes with the camera. Now, originally, if I would have bought it all as one kit, I could have got the lens probably for $200 or $300 savings. But I was paying cash, not credit, so I had to wait. Now, if you buy the lens at B&H, it's $1,000. I didn't buy it there. I bought it on eBay, and I paid like $750 around there. So I saved a couple $100, but it was a gray box. And what gray box means, you don't have the same type of warranties like you do if you buy it directly from, you know, B&H or a distributor or type of thing. I did buy the camera from B&H because I wanted the warranties on the camera. And the guy that I bought the lens from on eBay, I mean, literally he had like 8,000 feedback and 100% all the way across. He didn't even have one neutral. I was like, wow, you can't go wrong with this guy. So that's who I bought it from. I did do a lot of research on eBay, looking at reviews and everything, but on who I picked. So I've got a complete system now of the EOS R with a 24x105 lens. I got my leather thing I like to have on my camera, and my Really Right Stuff bracket on the bottom. And that's a complete system. I don't like to have the Peak Design tails hanging off my cameras. I don't like them at all. The reason I also like Really Right Stuff plates on the bottom is they have that click and go type of connection. I think I did a video on that where you click in and I've got one attached to all my straps, the leather strap, nylon strap. I got like 3 straps that I use. So, and I can switch, you know, I can click into my Canon 80D, click into this one. It's all the same system I've got designed into this. Now, some things I did notice when I ran an EF lens in the EOS R, I lost my 1080p by 60 frames a second. Now, if I ran an L lens like this one, then I got my 1080 by 60 frames a second back, and that's how I shoot video most of the time. My Canon 80D, no problem. Now, when I picked up the RF mount, the Canon 24x105 mount here, this will do 1080 by 60 frames a second. And normally what I like to do is I'll do 1080 frames per second, but then I'll produce it as 4K. And it looks fine on YouTube. I have a video to another channel where I show everybody what I did. And I'll give you a link in the bottom if you want to go check that video out. I compare all 3 of my cameras. What I don't like about the EOS R, and they're very small things, where this shutter button is, okay, I don't even know if you probably can't even see that, but I wish it would have been over just a tiny bit more. It would have made it more comfortable, just over to the left a little more. And it's the same thing with my back button I do back button focus with. I was just thinking that slider, maybe I could turn that into that because that would be a whole lot nicer to touch than that button. Wish it was over a bit more. I do use the slider button. I've tried it on many different things I've seen people do, but I haven't found one I totally like yet. But I really do like, I mean, I love it. I love the EOS R compared to the 80D. I mean, when you start shooting full frame, you'll never go back to a crop sensor again. And it's just really amazing. Now, I can't shoot, you know, lenses that don't zoom out and zoom in. And you'll hear a lot of people saying, well, those, you know, when you get a lens that doesn't, it shoots a better picture. And it probably does because it's, you know, engineered for that one particular distance. I'll give you an example. Like if I'm sitting in my vehicle and let's say I've got this lens on my EOS R and I go to take a picture of, say, a lion walking by, I mean, and he gets too close, this ain't going to work. Well, I can switch this over real quick because it's an RF mount, and now you got this. So you're safe in your vehicle, but at the same time you're wishing, boy, I wish I could take 2 more steps to get a bit closer. And that's what you got this here for. So that makes up for those 2 steps that you wanted to take. And that's the beauty part about it. Now, this 24-105 RF mount lens also has a 3rd ring on the front here. I'll let you hear this. Now, you can assign that to whatever you want. I've got it assigned to ISO. So, and that's kind of neat. So you're sitting there, you know, and you're just twisting it. And I made it sound louder than it really is because I put it right beside the microphone. But you can send the lens back for feed to Canon and have that removed if you don't want that. So I thought that was kind of nice too. But these are pretty much the 2 lenses that I'll be carrying all the time. I'll be carrying 2 cameras, maybe 3. I mean, I'll be carrying the EOS R, my Canon 80D. I can now, and also I'll have this one too with me. This is G7X Mark II. They all do 1080 60p. This is what I wanted, so I could have all 3 cameras set up, all 3 cameras recording. I could be sending my sound directly from my Zoom F4 into one camera, into the EOS R, for example, and the other cameras are just extra video. So it's going to be neat when I'm playing with all these cameras. I do have a couple GoPros. They're old, a GoPro 5, a GoPro 4. I even got some Chinese knockoff one around here somewhere. And I need to start using them more. It's just that, you know, you get out there and you start taking your photos and you just get, I get tunnel vision. As soon as I get that lens on my EOS R, it's, I'm just too busy concentrating on what I'm trying to get a photo of. Now, there is one quirky thing I noticed. When I put this 100x4 L lens on my EOS R, sometimes it loses focus. It doesn't matter how many times I press the focus button, it doesn't focus. I literally have to focus a little bit, turn the focus ring a little bit, and once it's almost in focus, then I hit the button and it focuses in right away. Boom, just like that. There's a bug with that. And I've tried duplicating a few times because it only does it once in a while. I don't know if it's because it's low light, but I'm still trying to duplicate when it does it. The RF mount, never. The focus is dead on all the time. So when they say, oh, you're better off to have lenses that connect directly to your camera and not use, you know, an attachment ring to switch other lenses, that's always true. I don't care what anybody says. And the focusing speed of this 24x105 is out of this world. I mean, literally, I mean, it's, I don't even know what to say, 200 times faster than the Canon 80D. It's amazing how fast the autofocus is in this. And you can't hear that. There is something wiggling inside that lens. You can feel it a little bit. You remember when you had a top spinning really fast and you went like this with your hand, you could feel it kind of pulling away. That's kind of what it feels like. And the reason for that is because it has inlay stabilization, and when you turn that on, you know, if it didn't have that in there, you would see this shaking thing going on. But even when you shake, and no matter how hard you try to hold that, there's always shaking, that is going to get it right on. Not as good as a gimbal, but if you're in a pinch, it'll work for what you need. So is the EOS R better than the Canon 80D? Well, hands down it is. I mean, come on, think about it. It's a full frame camera compared to a crop sensor camera. So, and it's got, you know, more megapixels and everything else in it. Of course, it's going to be a better camera. And it costs more, like anything. The more you pay, the better something normally is. Not always, but most of the time. So the EOS R is my go-to camera from now on. My Canon 80D is a backup. I'll use it for my video editing. I'm very happy I bought this. I'm very happy I just about killed myself to buy it. It took almost 6 months to get the EOS R and then to get the lens itself. But I don't have any regrets with buying it, whatever, and I'm really enjoying it. I wish I could get out more. It's so hot here in Tennessee. It's like 115 degrees. I'm waiting for it to snap into the cold, and I'll be out a lot more. But that's what's kind of holding me back. I did do a lot of 4K videotaping with an EF lens on it. And I found when I go to edit them in Power Director, Adobe, no problem, but it won't do it. So I had to use a program called Handbrake, and I would convert the video, then I could edit it in Power Director, and 4K video just takes a whole lot longer. I mean, on that 128 gig chip, half an hour recording usually filled it up 50%, 30 minutes. 30 minutes, and half the chip was filled. So I'd get 1 hour of video with a 128 gigabyte chip on 4K. And then when you dump it from the chip into the computer, That also takes time. You know, literally sitting there 20 minutes for it to do that. And that's why I like recording in 1080p, 60 frames a second. Everything, the whole process and everything's a lot faster. And Power Director does edit the 1080p, 60 frames a second in the Canon EOS R. Doesn't do 4K though, I have to convert it. That's the kind of strange part. Now, it doesn't come with a cable, you know, the USB cable that plugs in your computer, but it does have Wi-Fi and all that other good gadgets that people talk about. But I like to plug it into a cable. It's just me. And when you plug in a cable, it also brings up Canon's program, and then it copies everything from the camera. It puts a folder with the date, or whatever you tell it to put, and then it puts everything in there. So literally it helps me organize and keep my photos and video a lot more organized on what dates I took them. When you just take the chip out and put it in the card reader, well, it's not doing that. You have to go create the folder by hand and do all, I mean, all these little things, they all add up to more time. When I recorded a video with an EF lens on this EOS R, and, you know, and I did it for 30 minutes and I made a video, literally, there's about 2 hours before you even edit. And even when you produce, it takes longer. I mean, it literally turns into, now you don't have to sit in front of your computer the whole time while it's doing all this stuff, but if you did, it would be 6 hours just to create one video. And that's crazy. When I do 1080 by 60 frames a second, like I'm doing with the Canon 80D right now, and then I produce it as 4K, it's way faster. I mean, we're talking maybe 30 minutes to get the whole thing done. So that's the good thing. But EOS R, 24-105 lens, RF mount. I don't have the battery thing on the bottom. I never did pick that up. I think that's like $400 or $500. Maybe somebody else will come out. That's just seems like way too much money for me to invest. But I don't miss it. I really don't. Since I haven't used it, I don't miss it. My hand fits perfect. It doesn't fall off or anything. It literally does fit perfect without any problems. It feels good in my hand. I mean, they put a lot of thought into this when they made it. So, I don't know. Everybody's putting this camera down. Maybe they'll change their minds later, or maybe these people are millionaires, or they can afford $10,000 cameras. Not me. Canon's menus are extremely easy to use. Their color science is amazing. Their autofocus is amazing. I mean, every little place that Canon saves me time, especially when it comes to video or focusing or any of that stuff, it's less things I have to remember to do, and it's less mistakes I'm going to make. So I don't regret buying it. I just about sold my kidney to buy it, but I did get it. I do own it. I didn't put it on credit. I paid cash. And I finally got the lens to connect to it too. It just takes longer. And I'm sure they're going to bring out an RF mount in this lens soon. And I'm sure it's going to be like probably, who knows, probably $3 or $4 grand, who knows. And it'll be a while before I can pick that up. Maybe if I sell this one, then I could buy the RF one and then slowly start getting what I need in the RF mount system. Because I think mirrorless is here to stay. I think people are going to stay with it. As soon as you get that bigger opening on the front with the RF, you're letting in more light. It's just better photos and better video all the way around. That's all there is to it. But it's expensive. But if you're on the fence, don't be. Go get the EOS R. You'll be like, wow, this camera's amazing. That guy was right. And it is. And I'm not even getting paid for this. I don't even have a link for that. You go buy a big camera or something. I'm not even telling you to go. I don't think I'd buy it. I don't know. Amazon? I don't know. You know, I bought mine from B&H, so they seem to be more of a reputable country. I didn't go gray box on the camera, but I went gray box on the lens I bought off eBay. But I wouldn't go on the camera gray box. That's just too much money to take a chance with. B&H, I've had nothing but, you know, good things there. Oh, I also picked this up. This is kind of cool. See that? This is a what's it say? It says Genium lens made in China. A Genium. And I guess they can't use the word Canon, so they tried to make it look somewhat like that. 24-105, and it literally looks like the buttons don't work on the side though. It's literally a complete copy of a 105 lens. But what it is, it's a cup. You see? And inside it's stainless steel. And I would say that's the equivalent to maybe a little bit more than a cup itself, maybe 2 cups. And it fits in my hand pretty good. Has the lid, you know, goes forward and backwards, you know, so if you're in your vehicle, this screws on nice and tight. And now you can drink your drink, close it up. So now you can have a cup, basically, it looks like a lens. And it's super cheap. I'll have a link at the bottom if you guys want to go pick that up. I thought that was cool. So anyhow, I really do like the EOS R. I mean, it's my baby. I take care of it. I'm actually a little bit more careless with my Canon 80D now than I am with this. And I'm so happy that I got this RF-24-105 lens. I got this last week. Had it for a week now. And I've taken pictures of just about everything I can get my hands on. And I love it. I love it to death. So you're going to see a lot more videos on the Canon EOS R. And as I go along with it. At any rate, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.